Hi guys, welcome back to the Malena Edit. We are jumping into the college football week 11 recap. So many fun games. The Big Ten is just switching things up this year. It's kind of exciting to see some different teams trying to take over at the top. Indiana and Wisconsin emerging like they want to be competitors. Ohio State still looking like the team to beat. And then of course, Penn State and Michigan. I'm not sure what exactly is happening with either of those guys. Very interesting stuff. And then we did get to see our first bigger school opening in South Carolina. Unfortunately, Will Muschamp getting let go there. So I'm very curious where he lands on his feet and then who ends up taking over that job. I'm curious how many jobs we'll see opening. I feel like we'll kind of get some extensions this year just because it's such a weird year. That hopefully there's a little bit more wiggle room for coaches there. But we're going to look into some of the games that I got to watch. Kicking things off in the Big Ten, we're on Penn State at Nebraska. What a fun noon game. Starting on the Penn State side of things, so Will Levis winning the game after one too many mistakes there from Sean Clifford. And I think that the offense started to find success, much due to his legs in the second half of the game there. The defense kind of settled in the second half too. They said on the broadcast that this defense throughout the season so far has settled in more in the second half and not really shown up in ways that they needed to in the first half. They were probably a little bit surprised too, because on the Nebraska side of things, Luke McCaffrey started there. So I did not expect that. It was a nice little surprise over Adrian Martinez, the true freshman, starting, obviously the brother of Christian McCaffrey. We know that name pretty well. His great mobility, beautiful mobility, not the best arm, but I'm curious, he's only a freshman. So I think there's a lot for him to be able to work on. I'm sure we'll hear about him connecting with Jordan Palmer, Quincy Avery here in the offseason and improving that arm talent. I think we're going to see, I just have a feeling we're going to see a big difference going into his sophomore season. And once he's officially named the true starter, he looked really, really good out there though overall. Very curious about him versus Graham Mertz now in the Big Ten West for years to come. Hopefully, McCaffrey kind of bringing Nebraska and the Huskers back to their old glory days there. I think that defense showed up when it counted, especially in the second half, getting some critical stops there. On the Penn State side of things, now that they are pretty much not a competitor, I'm curious if we see Shaka Toney or Jason Owe opt out throughout the rest of the season. But this was a really fun game, and I feel like I got to learn so much, especially about this Nebraska team. Next up, we've got USC at Arizona. I tuned into this game once I saw that Notre Dame was going to comfortably win the game against Boston College. Credit to that Boston College team. They did look good. They definitely didn't just get rolled over, but Notre Dame took the win there. So I tuned into this Pac-12 matchup. This USC team is definitely not what I thought they would be. Hopefully, going into the rest of the season, they kind of start to make the necessary offensive adjustments, especially in the red zone. I'm going to be looking towards how Graham Harrell kind of adjusts things there, because right now it's not really getting the job done and they're like eking out wins, but I don't know how long you can keep that up, especially this week versus Utah, in a few weeks versus Oregon and things like that. Keaton Slovis, I saw this now for the second week in a row, just some weird bad throws, and the commentators did say that they think he might be injured. So hopefully he's okay, but it might not be fully healthy, because some very off throws, but they still pulled out the win. So it's not so pretty for this team, but they show up when it counts for sure there. Drake Jackson again with the game-winning play, sacking Grant Gunnell on the Arizona team. So yeah, good for him. Good for him for pulling that off again. But I'm going to be looking forward to how this USC team can keep winning in this way. I had my eyes on two night games because this first one disappointed a little bit. Wisconsin at Michigan. It was just a complete it was a dominating win for this Wisconsin team. I do think that the energy shifted a little bit for the Wolverines when Cade McNamara came in, replacing Joe Milton. And it's weird because there was so much buzz about Joe Milton before the season started. So perhaps he needs to be benched for a little bit and settled down, or maybe Cade McNamara is the future there. Very curious how that quarterback situation starts to work itself out there for Michigan. As far as Wisconsin, I'm curious, are they a true competitor now? Looking ahead to their game this week versus Northwestern, that's going to be a really fun one. And if they do end up taking the West, them versus Ohio State is going to be a heck of a Big Ten championship. But I'm like way down the line. Very, very excited about a lot of future games. As far as this week though, they dominated. The other game that I got to watch, Oregon at Washington State. I don't have many takeaways because I wish I would have honestly just kept my eyes on this one the whole time. I need to learn a little bit more about some of these Pac-12 teams this season. I think Washington State looked surprisingly better than I expected, especially under a first-year head coach there. I didn't see enough from Oregon to know for a fact that they're the team to beat in the Pac-12, but I believe that they are. So I'm going to have to look ahead to their game this week. And for sure, so excited for them to face Utah and USC. Those are kind of always the top dogs that I'm keeping an eye on. And maybe UCLA is actually a competitor this year. So all of that to say, I've got some homework to do in the Pac-12. But I'm eyeing and kind of piecing together a few things there. Obviously, CJ Verdell, excellent running back for the Ducks. Outside of that, not many takeaways just yet. That's all I've got for you guys this week. Just some thoughts after this past weekend's games. The Big 12 defenses are starting to improve. I don't know if they're just getting recruited better or coached better, but I'm seeing a lot of improvements there. I'm so used to it being Iowa State and TCU, but you're seeing West Virginia with a nice defense, Oklahoma State. Texas each week is getting better under Coach Ash, so that's really exciting. I'm very intrigued by how they'll continue to look up to the Big 12 championship there. And the biggest takeaway, let's make this year an 8-game playoff. Please, if we could just test the model this year, these independent schools and group of 6 guys are looking better and better each week. Cincinnati and BYU should definitely be in that conversation. Liberty, Marshall, and Coastal Carolina also showing up and kind of making a little bit of a name for themselves. I feel like this is the year to test it. I'd really love to see that. Let me know if you guys agree. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys so soon. I'm really excited about this Week 12 preview we've got coming up.